I do question if at that time he already kind of had this plan in mind. If I can just do this, it'll be easy transition. Did you think that's what it was going to turn into?
We talked about it. We were very worried.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in order to address this video properly, I basically want to break it down into 3 things that I want to discuss in this video. The first thing is I want to talk about this scam that Robyn and Kody ran on Meri to try to take her out of her position so that Robyn can absorb her position, take her position over, and become the first wife. The second thing I want to talk about is the shift in responsibility. One of the things that I thought was a little twisted was the fact that both Robyn and Kody blamed Meri, saying that it was her idea to get the divorce. Neither one of them had anything to do with it. It was Meri and all Meri's idea to do this. And they try to place it all on her. The third thing that I want to talk about is the reason behind this entire shuffle that happened within the family, the upheaval that occurred in the Brown family. To start things off, for many of us, it's already established that this was a con. But I present something that Meri had said where she was talking about what happened as far as her not wanting to go right away to get the divorce and her willing to wait and hold off and put off, and what happened directly after she gave Kody exactly what he wanted.
I kept thinking, if we can wait until our relationship is stronger, then I'll feel better about doing it, and I'll feel more confident, and I'll feel more secure in our relationship. But that was never going to happen, obviously. It was within 6 months that he quit coming around.
Kody had given Meri what she needed so that she could do the thing that he wanted her to do. And once she did the thing that he wanted her to do, his interest in Meri faded because he no longer needed her. Now, this is very reminiscent to people who might get involved with somebody when you meet somebody special or somebody whom you think is special. All of a sudden it's, oh, we're going out and this person is paying attention to me. They're so interested in me. They're telling me all the time that I'm the love of their life, that they love me, that they want me, that I complete them and all these wonderful things. And they have all these promises that they make. Eventually they become pop-up promises. They're telling you all these wonderful things that you want to hear. The moment you give them what they want, all of a sudden they hop up, they jump in the shower, tell you there's some money on the dresser, go ahead, catch a cab, they'll call you later. You become the victim of a hit it and quit it, a one-night turnabout, a smash and dash. That's what this feels like. Now, we've watched these episodes throughout the seasons where Kody will need Meri to do something and he love bombs the hell out of her. He starts showing her attention where she wasn't getting attention. She's love starved. She's attention deprived. So when he starts filling those gaps, now all of a sudden it seems like she's getting what she wants. And because she's getting what she wants, she becomes willing to give him what he wants. And once he gets what he wants, he cuts her off. We've seen this throughout the show. So it's no surprise that once he was able to get that divorce from Meri, he stopped talking to her after 6 months. To be honest with you, I'm surprised it took him that long. The next thing I wanted to talk about was Christine's allegation that Robyn was planting seeds several times over the years. When she comes into the relationship, she comes into the marriage, all of a sudden she starts talking about, you know what would be great? You know what would be so easy for us to do? What would make the family run better? And she starts making suggestions, because if she comes in and directly asks Meri to do something, then it's an ask and it's obvious that is for Robyn. But if Robyn can merely make a suggestion, she can merely, imply, she never directly comes out and asks, then when you do it, it's not because she asked you to do it, it's because you wanted to do it. And the best part of this, if you're on the manipulator side, is that when you do that thing that they want you to do, especially if they never directly asked you to do it, then it's your fault, it's your idea. Not only that, if they do ask you, the first thing they'll say after you sacrifice, after you've lost something, after you've given up something, or you've given away something, the first thing they'll say when you say to them, hey, I made made these sacrifices for the relationship. Well, you didn't have to do that because I never asked you to do that. And if I did ask you to do that, you could have said no. And they'll put it back on you. Ultimately, it comes down to a point that you have to recognize that they generally don't care about you because they don't really see you for you. They don't see the sacrifices that you make, because the sacrifices that you make and the suffering that you do just isn't important to them. But let's take a listen to Christine and how she describes this situation where Robyn comes into the family and she's making these suggestions.
So when Robyn first came into the family, she started talking to us about these other families where the first wife divorced the husband so he could marry the second wife legally and legally adopt the kids. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's a plant. And she mentioned that several times through the years. Like, she was putting that in there because she would have loved that to happen. I don't think Meri felt like it was planted. I think Meri felt like it was her own idea.
You know, the best con is the con where you make the person feel like it's something that they came up with. It's something that they decided to do. When things go horribly wrong, because a lot of times when they do these things, they're going to go horribly wrong. So when everything falls apart, because you feel like it was your idea, you blame yourself. But of course, Robyn comes back, and you know Robyn has the full denial. She did a full throat denial of what Christine had to say, and the way she did it, I thought was very strong, particularly for somebody who is so shy and so scared and so afraid to start talking.
So the idea that I planted an idea in Meri's head is an absolute lie. I never said it. I don't even know anyone who divorced their first wife so that the second wife could adopt kids. I've never even heard of that before.
Just because you never heard of it before and that's your statement as to why you never would have said it doesn't necessarily mean you didn't say it. You may never have heard of it before because it would be very difficult, especially in these types of marriages or situations, for you to convince somebody who has legal protections to give up that legal protection so that they could give it to somebody else so that they can bring their kids into the family. Depending on the family, this could leave the previously legal wife's children vulnerable. So I don't doubt that Robyn never knew anybody who did this. However, that doesn't mean she didn't say she knew somebody who did this. I say that because when Christine made her statement, what she said was in the tone and tenor and voice of Robyn. It was something we've heard her say before on the show. Let's listen to what Robyn said, and let's really listen to the tone and tenor for which she says it and compares it to Christine's allegation of her saying that she knew a family.
My sister wives, they should trust me. The only reason why this is in my head is because I've seen plural families where a husband dies and a first wife or the legal wife is responsible for his estate. And I've seen some women abuse that.
So in order to support her position, she talks about what she's seen and things that she's aware of, which is very reminiscent, if not identical, to what Christine is accusing her of. So if we put those two things together, it sounds like Christine is actually speaking in Robyn's voice when she makes this accusation. Now, I do want to give a little side note. I would make the observation that you do know it's a possibility that you can be cut out if you're not the legal wife. You recognize that you don't have any legal power or control over any of Kody's property if he were to pass, or if in the event he decided that he no longer wanted to be with you and he put you out. So you could potentially be at the mercy of your sister wife or your future ex-spiritual husband. Now, understanding how that works out, it does beg the question, how would one protect themselves from this great offense? The simple answer, of course, is you have to seize power. You have to usurp the person who is sitting in that position of power, and you have to take it for yourself. In this particular instance, that would be Meri. This show, at the time of the taping for the legal wife discussion, was actually in season 8 of the show. They were making significant amounts of money at this time. So in season 1, maybe Robyn didn't want to be the legal wife. Maybe she didn't want to marry into the family of people who were financially struggling, barely putting food on the table. But by the time they get to season 8 and they have 4 independent homes built in Las Vegas on a cul-de-sac, so essentially they have their own block, it does make sense that you want to be tied into Kody financially. Now, as I listen to them talk, it does sound to me as though Robyn did plant the seed, that she did create an environment where Meri thought that she was coming up with an original idea to get a divorce from Kody to allow Robyn to marry him so that Kody could adopt the kids. So what would this look like? The long and short of how this plays out, Meri and Kody's relationship was on the rocks before they met Robyn. So we have to get into the history of it. Meri revealed that she didn't know Kody and Robyn met prior to Meri and Kody meeting up with Robyn at her cousin's house. You didn't bring them together. So therefore, the origin story that Meri believed was in place was in fact a lie. Meri thought that she was introducing her husband, who she was having a rocky relationship with, to a woman who might make him happy, because everything that she does is to seek his favor. So she tries to ingratiate him with these gifts. So she gifted him basically another woman, a woman that she thought she was cool with, a woman that she thought Kody might be attracted to, a woman who Kody actually was attracted to because he had actually met her prior to Meri knowing who Robyn was. So Kody gets his dream girl. Now your relationship is really on the rocks. Time that he spends with Meri is time that he's spending away from Robyn. So that creates more pressure and more stress in that relationship. In furtherance of trying to set the stage, Robyn begins to plant seeds by telling the family how heartbroken she is because the kid's natural father is absentee. He doesn't pay child support. He doesn't see them, blah, 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 blah. We have to protect the kids. It's all about the kids. It's not about poor, sweet, innocent Robyn. It's about protecting your kids, which makes her a good person. Kody doesn't take accountability for his problem with Meri. He tells her they have trouble because of the way she treats her sister wives, a la Christine season 17. These are all things that we've seen on the show. So it's no reason in the world why I would think that this is something that Kody just started doing. I think that Kody had always triangulated these women against one another. And then when he experienced any discord within these relationships, he just merely pointed to them and said, I don't get along with you, not because of something I did, but because you don't get along with your sister wife. And this would be a way that he could push away Meri by saying that she's not getting along with her sister wives, or there's all kinds of discords or problems in these relationships because she's selfish and she's mean. This is something that he's tried to say several times on the show. So ultimately, what do we have? Meri's heartbroken and scared because she's not getting along with Kody. Sister wife Robyn is suffering because her kids are in danger. Now, after years and years and years of subtle suggestions, inferences, innuendos, and essentially turning dog shit into diamonds, there is an easy solution. What's that easy solution? If Meri gets a divorce, she can save Robyn's kids and gain favor with her husband by doing a favor for his favorite. The hidden hammer, of course, in this situation, if she doesn't get the divorce, she's needlessly hurting Robyn's kids. And I'm sure, according to Kody, this would be another example of her selfishness. So if she does it, she's a great person. She's a great sister wife. She's saving Robyn, and therefore she gets favor from Kody. If she doesn't get the divorce, then she's needlessly hurting Robyn. She's needlessly causing pain and discord in the family, and that would be a reason why he should probably divorce her anyway. The disgusting part of this is now Kody and Robyn are rewriting history, claiming it was Meri's idea. To add insult to injury, Robyn is pretending that she never wanted to marry Kody, but somehow the world always happens to poor, sweet, innocent Robyn, that she falls into yet another optimal position against her will. How fortuitous. One of the more annoying things is every time Robyn sits there and tries to pretend like she doesn't want something, she doesn't want to do something, the thing that she's struggling against always somehow benefits her. She doesn't want to have a house, and she didn't want to live in a mansion, mansion, but somehow she was the only person who had $1 million home. She didn't want to marry Kody, but somehow she finds herself married to Kody and now is the recipient of at least half of the assets that the OG3 spent the last 30 years building and putting together with Kody in their marriages. Somehow she just does it. I don't know what it is. Robyn is just that lucky. The crazy part is Robyn even went as far as to suggest that she never wanted to marry Kody.
Meri told me when she made the offer that when we were getting to know each other, she had had the idea in her head to offer to give me the legal marriage so that Kody could adopt my kids. I never even wanted to be legally married to Kody. I was actually really grateful that I wasn't going to be legally married to Kody because I'd gone through so much trauma with my legal divorce in my last marriage. I was very happy and content with my spiritual marriage. I didn't need anything else.
Kody and Robyn have spent the last 20 seasons, almost 19 seasons, soon to be 20 seasons, denying the fact that they're actually in a relationship with one another. It's the most ridiculous, annoying thing possible because both of them will sit there and on occasion talk about how much they love each other, how they were struck by lightning when they were in the church when they saw each other. A bolt of lightning ran through them. Kody claims that God was his wingman when they first met, and that's how he was able to attain Robyn because they were destined to be together. Then in the same breath, he'll turn around and say that he never wanted to be with Robyn, and it just happens that she's the only one he's stuck with. She'll turn around and say that she didn't want to be with him at all. Originally, she never wanted to legally marry him, but somehow she was forced down the aisle into doing it. And I just get tired of listening to her and him pretend as though they're suffering because they're eternally the victims of somebody else's wishes and desires that they just happen to benefit from every time. Not to mention, there is a part that Robyn apparently forgot where she had this to say.
Kody's my soulmate.
So Kody's your soulmate, but yet and still you don't want to marry your soulmate. This is also the guy who you said should have been the father of your children because you should have saved your purity and gave it to him. Make it make sense. And it doesn't make sense what they're talking about. Against the tone and tenor point that I made earlier. There's no love lost between Christine and her, so maybe Christine would lie about this particular situation. But Robyn laid her plan out when she was too busy trying to be the single mom superhero. When she was sitting there bragging about all the things that she was going to do as a single mom and to be able to protect her kids and make sure that she took her baby daddy down, this is what she had to say as far as her court strategy.
There are 3 major walls in order for Kody to adopt Dayton or Mariana. One of them is he and I being legally married, and Meri has taken care of that wall. The second wall that we have is my ex's rights to the kids. And even if he signs those away, we still have the third wall, which is whether or not the judge will sign off on Kody.
So let me get this straight. If you never wanted Meri to divorce Kody and you never wanted to marry Kody, why was both of these things number one in your master plan?
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Of course, to add insult to injury, the other half of this putrid couple, Kody also tries to shift the blame to Meri. But in true Kody fashion, he takes it a step further.
Meri came to me saying, we need to just do this divorce on paper so that you can adopt Robyn's kids. In my mind, we were just shuffling a legal paperwork. Meri and I, after that divorce, left Robyn and went to dinner together. I gave her a special ring, and we probably went home and made love. I mean, I'm just like going, we're not breaking this up.
Kody says Meri came to him and suggested this paperwork shuffle. What puts this assertion on the express train to Crazy Town is Kody's one-up move of lying and saying they went to dinner. He gave her a ring. Then they made sweet, sweet love till the morning light came up.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Kody dismisses this as a paperwork shuffle. If this was, in fact, a legal formality that didn't mean anything, why maintain it? Get married, adopt the kids, divorce Robyn and restore order to your family. This is what you would have said if you gave a damn about order in your family. This is also further acknowledgement that the legal wife is an elevated position. Throughout this show's run, we've heard that the legal stuff doesn't matter. I say it clearly matters in the marriages and in the child rearing. The entire reason for this seismic shift was for Kody to have the ability to adopt the kids. But that doesn't make sense. Robyn claims the OG3 wives and their kids were always horrible to her and her kids. They bullied them relentlessly and always made them feel like unwelcome outsiders. My question, why the hell would you give them legal custody? Of course, Robyn's response was, what if something were to happen to her? My response to that, that's not all adoption does. According to Robyn, it allows Kody and the Browntown bullies to sue for visitation if you were to break up. But I'm sure what Robyn was thinking of was Kody, and through relation, the OG3 would be burdened with an enforceable financial obligation. Plainly, she would be entitled to child support. Robyn claims the father had nothing to do with the kids. No visitation, no child support. Kody was living with them, acting as their father. Questions. If Robyn's ex wasn't seeing them, then why was Robyn so pressed to have the kids adopted? She was acting like she was saving them. Saving them from what? Having to use a different name? Is that what you were saving them from? What it sounds like is Robyn's ex was a bad parent because, one, he didn't want to pay medical bills for an accident that occurred when he was in a different state for kids he wasn't allowed to see. Two, if no child support and not visiting a child on a consistent basis are grounds to strip a parent of their rights, why is Kody fighting Christine now? This is one of the more torturous things to watch, especially as we go back through the whole idea of the adoption scandal on the show. This is one of the things that he had to say with regard to his willingness to fight for these kids and the position he was willing to take with the children's natural father.
If their biological father is not cooperative, then I have no problem just raining down some fury. I'm really willing to go to that place.
Now, I think it's commendable for a bonus father or a bonus parent, father or mother, whatever, to be willing to fight for the safety, security, and benefit of that bonus child. They're essentially saying that in my house, there are no stepfathers, no stepmothers, there's no stepchildren. There's only steps that go upstairs or downstairs, but other than that, there are no steps in my house. We're all one family, and I can respect that. However, you don't necessarily have to have the legal bindings of a contract to say that you can parent a child that lives in your home. Conversely, even with Kody in this situation where he finds himself at now, you don't have a relationship with Truly. There are questions of whether you're visiting her all the time and how sporadic or consistent do you see her. There's also the question of how much are you paying in child support? Are you supporting her? And then, of course, David is living in the house with her. So should David now all of a sudden be able to strip Kody of his rights and be able to adopt Truly because Truly is living in his home? I don't think that it's appropriate in either case. If there's a natural parent who wants to be involved in a child's life, you don't strip that child away from that parent. It's not beneficial for the child at all. Now, bonus time. One of the more twisted things I wanted to talk about was actually the fact that Kody was laying the groundwork for Meri actually being the cause and the reason for the family or the marriage to break up. So this is one of the jujitsu tricks that Kody always pulls in relation to these ladies and taking accountability for the reason why these relationships are failing. Even if he's directly involved with something, it's always somebody else's fault.
Meri's attitude changed where I didn't feel like mine did. What she started doing was when I'd go into the house and, like normally you might see your wife dressing, she would cover herself up and hide.
If you and I are not having a husband-wife relationship and you walk in the room, why would I expose myself to you? So yeah, I am going to guard myself.
Now, between the two, I gotta say straight up, what Meri said made sense. What Kody said didn't make any sense to me. He's essentially saying that because he had the paperwork shuffle with Meri, all of a sudden Meri started acting different. But if you weren't having a physical or intimate relationship with Meri and you walked into her house and you were showing that level of familiarity when she's in a state of undress, then it only makes sense that she would cover herself, especially being as though we have to take into account of who we're actually talking about, the players in this game. Meri and the OG3 and even Robyn, to give Robyn that credit, they do not come from the type of culture where women just take their clothes off in front of men, that they're not in a full functioning relationship with. I thought, to be honest with you, that it was kind of crossing some boundaries and crossing some lines, that when we were watching the shows earlier and Meri was in the process of moving from Arizona back down to Parowan, and when Kody came over to see her, or even when he was sitting there having a conversation with her on the couch and they were talking about the relationship dissolving and Meri being granted the separation from the church, and Kody just walked into the house. He doesn't knock on the door, ring the bell, none of that. He just walks into the house like he lives there. I think that that's inappropriate. So most certainly I think that it's inappropriate for you to come busting into her bedroom when she's in a state of undress and be offended that that's what she did. One of the other things that Kody is trying to lay the groundwork for, and this is why I say that it's very likely that Robyn came in and tried to plant seeds of deceit and deception into these relationships, because we're currently watching Kody do it. He's trying to set the stage that it's actually Meri's fault that the family broke up. It's not the fact that he wasn't coming around to see her, or he was neglecting her, or he was basically abandoning her. No. What he's trying to lay the groundwork to make the argument for is that when the divorce went through, all of a sudden Meri was so hurt and so offended, she started acting differently, started to reject him, started pushing him away, and started to act different. And that caused a rift in their relationship and caused him to stop coming around because he felt like he was no longer welcome. He's trying to put that on her. And then later he said, oh, there was no problem in the marriage or the relationship. And so therefore, when she started seeing the catfish, it was genuinely the fact that she was cheating on me, and not the fact that I set the stage and made her vulnerable for somebody to come in and start trying to date her and talk to her. But it's the fact that she's just the kind of person who to break up my marriage or break up our relationship and abandon and betray our commitment and trust. The one thing that I will say with Meri is that I think that she has a strong bone when it comes to seeing herself as a loyal person. And for him to attack her on that level, we've heard this before, that he will go after places where people are sensitive. This is a place where Meri is sensitive. So when you hit her here, Kody, you should be aware that she is going to come back and she's going to hit you way harder because you hit her in a place of pride. Ultimately, it kills me that Robyn wanted to usurp Meri's role as the legal wife to protect her position in the family. As Kody demonstrated, he is very insecure when it comes to Robyn. He stated several times on different platforms that men have been chasing Robyn since they met. There have been guys who have been asking about her, chasing after her, trying to date her, trying to marry her, trying to take her from him. So my question would be, why wouldn't he want to lock her down legally? Why wouldn't he want to marry her so that way he has a legal claim and not just a church-born claim or a claim that is only recognized within his church, but he has a legal claim on Robyn and her time. And he also has hidden hammer I talked about earlier that they used against Meri. Technically, he would have that hidden hammer against Robyn as well, because at the time of the legal divorce, he only had one child with Robyn. For her part, she could have put additional pressure on him by insinuating that she would feel more secure in the relationship and thereby be ready to have additional children if she was elevated to the position of legal wife. This was a tactic we witnessed her use during the Shark Tank episodes.
I don't think I can have another baby unless the workload that I am
that you have with my sister's wife's closet lightens up. Okay.
On the flip side, Kody may have felt that simply having one child was not enough of an obstacle to prevent her from leaving him. The legal marriage, in theory, would give him more control over her. This whole thing that I just laid out makes perfect sense to me. Let me know what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. If you stuck with me to this point, go ahead, give me that thumbs up to let me know that you appreciate what I'm doing. Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. Thank you so much. This has been My Take. I'm James. This is My Take on Reality, and I'm out.
'Cause I've been living life right like I